These are the days of my tongue-tie journey. It is time to get an update. I don't know why. Every time I talk about this, I get the giggles. But I am just like, frick, it's been crazy busy around here in my world, especially with the mouth and the tongue, because there is so much more going on. There is so much more going on. But we're going to start where I finished. We're going to start where I finished, which was at the last episode of the tongue-tie journey. I had gotten my sleep test results and I had gone in for my initial C-scan testing and exam. So as soon as I got to my appointment, the assistant took me back to get my C-scan, and it's with something called a beam reader. And you stick your head in this machine and you kind of rest your chin, and it scans all of your, it scans kind of your whole head, comes down here to your jaw and your neck and your shoulder area. That way the doctor can look at all the results and really see what's going on with inside the mouth. In my ear. All right, so then I met Dr. Lori, who I really, really like. This doctor, she was so patient, so kind, super articulate, just a great bedside manner, but she spent a lot of time in my mouth. And she was, counting, looking through and, giving numbers. You're sitting back there as she's doing her work, and she's, looking at this, looking at that. And then she said, when she first walked in, she said, you definitely have some, some ENT, maybe like deviated septum type stuff. And I'm like, how did you know that? And she just said, just from the initial kind of look at the images from the C-scan. Now they send the C-scan out to a radiologist so we can get a proper report. But, that was kind of the first thing. I'm thinking, well, I don't really think I have anything, breathing wise with my nose, but it's interesting to see what's going to happen with this C-scan. Then she, she's measuring on the inside, and she says, she's like, you really have a small airway back there. And I said, someone told me on TikTok that they said, wow, you've got a big mouth. It wasn't a big mouth. They said I had a big tongue, a fat tongue, a large tongue is what they said. And she says, no, Vanessa, you just have a small mouth. You don't have a large tongue. So for the TikToker who said that my tongue was too big, no, I have a broad smile and a small mouth. And my tongue is just right, but it needs more space. Now remember, I was going to get the C-scan because of, to get fitted for my sleep apparatus because of my sleep apnea from my test results. And I was happy about that. But as she's looking at more and more, she's like, this airway is so small that we're going to have real issue with, you getting a good result with your sleep test and with your tongue tie. And then she said, I know that the myofunctional therapist had said that you weren't interested in doing the expansion. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do expansion. I'm like, the thought of stretching my teeth out, making space and having to, to add veneers to the top, that just seemed like such, like a no-no. Not to mention, that's something that's going to take at least like 10 months or 14 months. And, who knows how much that's going to cost. But as she's talking and explaining everything to me, I suddenly pivoted like in a second and said, okay, let's do it. If my mouth is that small and it's going to prohibit a successful tongue tie, then let's just do it. Once you're in, you just got to commit. You got to fully commit to the process. So they brought this other tech in, and they had this really cool device, and they stick it in your mouth. And it, like, I don't know if it's 3D or 4D or 5D or what they call it. It literally scans all of your upper and your lower, and you get, like, the video. The video is so freaking cool because you get to see it. She brought it and you see it on the screen. I actually videotaped it so I can show you guys. And you get to see my whole mouth, my whole teeth, everything, like a perfect mold of my mouth. And you don't have to use those, those old-fashioned stick foam in your mouth and bite down. It's totally different. What happens is this gets sent off to the lab, and then they make these trays. To mention, it's called Candid Pro, which is kind of like it's like an Invisalign kind of thing, but the brand is Candid RX. And you wear these trays like 22 hours a day, and you change the trays out approximately every 2 weeks that you wear them. You'll send in like a snapshot of video of your progress through this app, which is really cool. Anyway, that gets sent off so that they can look at my mouth and kind of come up with a game plan and let me know how much that's going to cost. I can make the decision once I get the pricing if I want to do it or not. But you know what? I'd already made the decision. I'm like, I want a good result. Like, I want to not have this tongue tie pain and poor sleep and the aches and the pains. I'm like, let's just do it. So before we left, she gave me the itemized bill, and it's like $6,500, something like that. So I'm like, gosh, I'm spending a lot of money. This appointment, I have to say, it's not cheap. The assessment with the doctor, which was like an hour and a half, plus having the scan, was $525. Now, part of that, again, is to have a radiologist read the scan. But anyway, I'm starting to rack up the bills. I asked her, I said, okay, so when do I get my sleep apparatus? They said, you're going to get a temporary, once we get the candid trays in, once they arrive, which could be as much as 2 weeks, then we will fit you with what they call an emergency sleep application, but like a mouthpiece, like a mouth guard that you will sleep with and use during the process that you're wearing your candids. And then when you're finished with that, then we will make the sleep, the proper sleep apparatus thing that's like $3,000, but it is supposed to be much more comfortable. It's an upper and a lower thing. And I'm hoping that insurance covers some of that. I do have to tell you that when I was doing my tongue tie research, there were a few caveats with, tongue tie results that weren't so great. And one of the tongue tie results that weren't so great were people that had very small airways and didn't have enough room in their mouth, that sometimes after a tongue tie release, then it can actually be worse. Which is all the more reason that I am investing in this whole journey that has become tongue tie, mouth expansion, creating more space for air project journey. I left that appointment and then I went back and had my C-scan results. So these are the results. I'm going to end this video and I'm going to jump on another one so that we can go through the C-scan results because they're quite interesting.